Hey, what up, guys? So coming into this morning, I'm doing the what's next on Adam Konaki, heavyweight, rising heavyweight prospect, undefeated fighter. He just fought on August 3rd. He main evented a Fox Sports card when he scored a one-sided, well, not really one-sided, but a convincing 12-round unanimous decision over former world title challenger Chris Arreola. It was a solid performance by Konaki. He outworked Arreola, but couldn't finish him. So that, to me, kind of was a little bit of a cause for concern. I mean, Arreola always had a good chin, but, you know, he got stopped earlier on in his career by the likes of Klitschko and Deontay Wilder and Bermane Stavern, you know. So if you're trying to compare Konaki, especially Arreola at that older age, you know, probably wanted, you know, everybody wanted to see a knockout. I know I did, especially Konaki does have the power. It's he just couldn't finish Arreola. So, you know, I don't know how people want to view that. It was a one-sided decision, but you know, and it was a really good fight. I mean, the rounds were competitive and stuff, especially like the first half of the fight, heading into, you know, 8th, 9th rounds. But pretty much second half of the fight, Konaki just continued the same pace while Arreola's pace kind of dropped. And he won a lot of those later rounds convincingly. So, you know, nice win for Konaki. So the big question now is, what's next for Adam Konaki? Well, you know, running through the top 10, you know, because they really don't have a clear set opponent set up for him next. So let's take a look at the top 10 and see what he could do. A lot of the guys are tied up through the remainder of the year, and I think Konaki would likely return in December area, November, December. So let's take a look at some of the options, possible options in the top 10, if any at all. We start with number 1, Tyson Fury. He's locked up for September, and then he's got a big showdown with Deontay Wilder and early in the year, next year. So I doubt he'll be, you know, that fight. No chance that fight happens. Deontay Wilder's tied up right now with Luis Ortiz. He's fighting Luis Ortiz on November 9th. And then he's going to face off against Tyson Fury early next year. So no chance of that one. Andy Ruiz and Anthony Joshua just signed on for December for their rematch for the unified heavyweight title. So that's not happening. Dillian White is caught up in all his shit right now from that proposed positive drug test that took place in July. So, and even if he wasn't, he'd be lined up for a shot with the winner of Wilder and Fury. So his next fight, I don't think he'd be wanting to gamble against somebody like Konaki, who's on the rise. You know, let me see. After that, you got Joseph Parker, former world champion. You know, looks like he fights for DAZN, and looks like he's going to be taking on Derek Chisora later in the year, so I don't see this fight happening. Alexander Povetkin's coming back against Hughie Fury, Tyson Fury's cousin. You know, I wouldn't be surprised, but I think Povetkin's tied in with DAZN as well. So it'd be kind of a hard fight to make with Konaki, you know, with the PBC. Luis Ortiz is fighting Deontay Wilder. Kubrat Pulev is lined up for a world title shot, so I doubt he takes on a guy like Konaki when he's already a mandatory contender. And then rounding out the top 10, you got Oscar Rivas, who just came off of that controversial loss. That could be a possibility right there. And it would be a real test for what's his name, for Konaki. If he were to take it, I'd love to see that. But I'm not sure that's the kind of fight they'd want next, because Rivas would be a test. But I think it'd be good for him to try it out. And then finally, Joe Joyce, undefeated Joe Joyce. Not sure either one of these guys want to take that kind of risk, but then maybe again they would, because right now the heavyweight division, you have about five or six really solid guys at the top that are kind of circling each other right now. So some of these guys are going to want to make a splash against guys that are, you know, in or around the top 10 by facing each other. So Konaki, undefeated, he should be wanting to get that splash made. So I'm hoping in his next fight he takes on a top 15 heavyweight, somebody like that, or they put him into some kind of an eliminator so he can, you know, maneuver his way into a title shot or something big. So that's what his goal needs to be. I'd love to see him fight one more time for the end of the year. I think it's probably going to be somewhat of a tune-up fight, somebody he can knock out, kind of raise his confidence heading into next year. But I also wouldn't be surprised if it is some kind of an eliminator to work his way into a world title shot. So we'll see what happens. That's undefeated Polish heavyweight contender Adam Konaki. All right, guys, True Boxing. You've been hit with the truth.